It's Subverted Tropes, a podcast about movies, featuring your hosts Daniel Spencer and Kate Harlow.
Hello, welcome to Subverted Tropes. I am Kate.
I am Dan.
And next we are discussing the 2006 disaster, The Wicker Man.
Disaster doesn't even begin to fucking describe this movie.
Not even close. This one was picked for us by Daniel's sister Jenny because she likes to torment us.
I mean, that's an understatement.
This one was picked for us. When I say picked for us, this was part of the Horror Movie Month marathon, and part of that is that Daniel's friends and loved ones will pick movies that he hasn't seen before, and it will be a secret right up until we press play on the movie. So in this case particularly, I had the pleasure of doing the history write-up, so the layout of this episode is going to be a little bit different than normal, as some of the others will be this month. Normally what we do is we discuss it, then we watch it, and then we come back and go over our feelings about it. But this one, we actually watched it already, and now we're going to do a play-by-play.
I'd like to jump in real quick and talk about Jenny's picks in the past.
Please do.
So she's picked some pretty great movies. She picked Dead Alive, Peter Jackson original that sets the record, at least, or did for a long time, held the record of the most blood per scene in a movie.
I mean, that's a pretty good standard as far as like all movies go, not just for movies picked by people that you know.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty great. It was a really fun movie. Next up was the original Fright Night, which was also an incredibly fun movie. After that, she picked Dar at the Mall, a Bollywood flick that was hilariously bad. I'm not going to even try and sugarcoat it. It was not a good movie, but it was damn fun. So I knew that Jenny was going to pick something fun this year.
And that came in the form of The Wicker Man. Actually, a little bit of behind the scenes. We weren't sure if you had seen the movie Freaks until you got the survey. So that was actually going to be her pick.
Seriously?
Seriously.
I fucking watched that movie with Jenny before.
Well, evidently she didn't remember that. Part of the movie picking process is that the people choosing the movies will discuss amongst themselves what they want to pick, and then they put together a survey for Daniel that includes the movies that they want to pick. It will include movies that they aren't really considering. It will include movies that don't really exist, and he has to either mark if he has seen them, if he hasn't seen them, if he thinks it's really a movie or not. And from there, they are able to more clearly pick and better choose the best movies to bring in to surprise him with.
Which has turned out great in the past, but also sometimes I fall for movies thinking that they're real because their titles are so fucking absurd. Like there was one a few years back that was like Dicks and Dicks, a Vampire House or something like that. That I'm like, the title of this movie is just insane. I was like, this is so absurd. It has to be a real movie. And it wasn't. And I got fooled. And similarly, Mask Rouge last year was submitted by my friend Sean. And I assumed it was like a Mask of the Red Death type of thing. And I'm like, oh, this is probably real. And it wasn't real at the time. And then Sean filmed a movie called Mask Rouge and showed it. And there was egg all over my face.
And Mask Rouge is terrifying.
It's on YouTube if you want to look for it.
Terrifying. Also, if you don't know Daniel and his crew of peeps personally, most of it is inside jokes, many, if not all, of which are at Daniel's expense.
I would say it's a love letter to me, but there's so many jokes at my expense, I don't know if I can actually say that. It's more of a hate letter wrapped. It's a hate letter sealed with a kiss.
It's a love letter wrapped around a brick thrown through your front window.
That is exactly it. So please look up Mask Rouge by YouTube user Mean Finch. That's going to be the one we're talking about.
We'll put it on the blog. We'll put it on the WordPress blog.
Beautiful. Which is subvertedtropecast.wordpress.com.
Yes. So now that you have a little bit more background into this insane month that we're just going to keep talking about, back to The Wicker Man. this insane shitstorm of a movie. So the 2006 movie was a remake of the 1973 British cult film of the same title, which also draws from the 1967 David Pinner novel, The Ritual. The 2006 version is directed by Neil LaBute and stars Nicolas Cage. And honestly, who even cares who else is in it? I know I looked at some of the names. None of them stuck with me.
Lily Sobieski's in it.
Yeah, her. Okay. James Franco shows up at one point, as does Jonathan Ritter.
That is correct.
They are some extras in the background of some scenes.
And the woman who plays Mrs. Summersisle is Ellen Burstyn. Ellen Burstyn's in it.
Yes. But again,
I feel like I'm going to spend a lot of this podcast talking about the differences between the original and the remake.
Well, and yeah, so that's the thing. It's like the most hilarious part of it is that it is 75 to 80% of the movie is actually like directly the same dialogue as the original. And that it is so far and away different is incredibly remarkable. So much so that the original director, Robin Hardy, of the first, asked, he actually had his lawyers make sure that his name was taken off of the 2006 version because he did not want to be associated with it. He saw it as being that bad.
I think no one blames him for that because this movie was that bad.
See, but here's the thing. Nicolas Cage does because he really is proud of it. Or at least he keeps saying that he is.
And if anyone feels proud of a movie that's the quality of The Wicker Man,
it's Nicolas Cage.
You're wrong, and I don't want to drive with you.
The film focuses on a police officer investigating the disappearance of his ex-fiance's daughter on a mysterious island inhabited? Yep, by an unusual commune. When he arrives on the island, the behavior of the people living there begin to make him suspect foul play. The film itself is notorious for being so bad it's good, but not good, but really not bad, but funny. It had been planned as a remake since 1990. When production picked up in March of 2002, it was revealed that around the same time, the original film's director, Robin Hardy, and the original star, Christopher Lee, had been planning a semi-remake titled The Riding of Laddie with Vanessa Redgrave and Sean Astin.
I'm sorry, hold on. You're going to need to hit me with that again.
Production for The Wicker Man, the remake, that shitstorm we just watched earlier, that picked up around 2002. At the same time, the original director, Robin Hardy, the one who was like, get my name off of that, I don't want to be associated with it, was trying to make like a kind of remake, like a spin-off sort of, with Christopher Lee, who played Lord Summersisle in the original. They were making a remake called The Riding of Laddie with Vanessa Redgrave and Christopher Lee's Lord of the Rings co-star, Sean Astin, which would take place in Scotland and eventually morphed very much. It came back to the U.S., the script changed, and it was produced under the name The Wicker Tree.
Wait, so was that actually made?
I believe it was. I didn't really follow up on it because I was like, well, that's a mess.
It was.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, it was. I don't know if Vanessa Redgrave was in it. It came out in 2011.
Yeah, I mean, she was originally attached to whether or not she stayed with the production.
But yeah, it's basically, looking at it, the same general idea, and that's amazing.
Yep.
Wow.
So, you'll be shocked to know that The Wicker Man had very low ratings in theaters.
Wait a minute, what?
I know.
Did people actually watch it?
Yes, but here's a fun thing. It was not screened for critics prior to release.
Oh, of course it wasn't. Nobody was proud of that movie.
No, but they were.
Why?
I don't know. The film at this point in time has a score of 15% on Rotten Tomatoes, 39% on Metacritic, and an F on CinemaScore.
Those all sound about right.
Yes. It had a budget of $40 million in 2006, which translate to $48,857,481.25 today.
All right. So,
Not bad. The numbers that translated to in a box office release, it was a complete flop. Just straight up.
of course it was.
Even though it made number 3 at box office its first weekend.
Interesting.
Yeah.
If you paid to see that in the theaters,
You're wrong.
and I don't want to drive with you.
Hardy, even though he had his lawyers make Warner Brothers remove his name from the remake's promotional material, he was given writing credit for the screenplay, even though he hadn't received any in the original.
Amazing. So the director received writing credit
Yes.
in the remake,
Yes.
but he didn't write it.
Yes.
That, I think, really speaks about the research and dedication that the remake had to getting it right and being really honest to the original, is that they didn't fucking give a shit who wrote it.
Yeah. Though Christopher Lee, who played, as we said, Lord Summerisle in the original, was quoted as saying, "I don't believe in remakes. You can make a follow-up to a film, but to remake a movie with such history and success just doesn't make sense to me."
I mean, that is incredibly accurate. Although he did
make a spin-off remake movie.
Yes. And he was in a lot of he was in the remake series that Hammer Horror did of Dracula.
But I mean, I think what he was saying was that the first one was too good to remake. I think what he was saying was that if it's good, you shouldn't remake it. I think that's what he was trying to say.
I think that's fair.
Nicolas Cage has said he knew it was a black comedy all along.
Beep 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 bullshit. Beep 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 bullshit.
But he also has said that he would love to reprise the role. He would really love to work with the producer of Ringu in Japan to revisit the role, but this time as a ghost.
Okay, so hold on. He wants to revisit his shitty role in a shitty movie directed by a good person and be a ghost in the remake.
Well, so I don't think he wants to remake it. I think he wants to pick the story back up after he was burnt to death.
Hey, you new cop. Avoid these people. Get back on the plane and fuck off.
Don't look in that drawer.
Jog on. Don't dress as that bear. You'll end up punching a woman. Woo!
The film was nominated for 5 Razzies.
Of course, if you said anything other than Razzies, I was gonna jump out of my chair.
But it didn't win any of them.
That's insane.
It lost Worst Picture to Basic Instinct 2.
Okay, nope, that's fair. I'll give it that.
Nicolas Cage lost Worst Actor to Marlon and Sean Wayans for Little Man.
Okay, all right, another fair call.
Worst Screenplay lost to Basic Instinct 2.
Yeah.
Worst Remake or Ripoff lost to Little Man.
Okay.
And Worst On-Screen Couple. So the winner was Sean Wayans and either Kerry Washington or Marlon Wayans for Little Man. But the nominee for The Wicker Man against them was Nicolas Cage and his bear suit.
That sounds about right. I keep forgetting Kerry Washington was in Little Man.
Everybody makes mistakes.
Oh, Kerry.
Everybody makes mistakes. It was really a scandal.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, let's see. We can all blame this movie on Johnny Ramone, because you might notice that the movie is dedicated to him. Nicolas Cage dedicated the movie to his friend because it was Johnny Ramone who introduced Nick Cage to the original Wicker Man. Jenny, though she did subject us to this, did offer us a drinking game to keep things light.
Those drinking game rules were pretty great.
And I do have them right here.
Hit us with them.
The drinking game rules. And I will read them in the order that they were given to us. Drink when Nicolas Cage opens a drawer.
Number 1.
Drink when there is a pointless flashback to the opening scene.
Number 2.
Drink when Nicolas Cage babbles incoherent nonsense.
Number 3, but that was kind of disappointing because I don't think we ever invocated that.
Yeah, I don't think we really
Invoked that.
Invoked. Drink when Nicolas Cage punches a woman.
Number 4, happened a couple of times.
Finish your beer when Nicolas Cage punches a woman while wearing a bear costume.
So that happened and it was amazing.
Yes. And then this is actually the first one on the list, but we saved it for last because Jenny introduced these rules before we told you what movie it was. Drink when there are bees.
That was obviously the one that told me what movie we were watching, and I got very sad very quickly.
And that's all I got. That is the horror of the Wicker Man.
There were a lot of tropes in this, but I don't even think we need to discuss them.
The thing that is fascinating is that from what the original was, it turned into like this creepy, like, anti-feminist propaganda.
Seriously, that was what was standing out to me this whole time, is like, this island of women are like, we are not subservient to men, and then they're painted to be these bad guys.
We spent so much time murdering children. Or not, well, no, I mean, I guess they never actually really murdered the children, but we make it out to look like we murder children.
Instead,
but really all we do is murder men.
men.
We use children as bait to murder men.
And it just felt so... It felt like such a frickin' men's rights activist bullshit movie.
I swear to God, if I didn't know better, I would think that whoever was writing it was just wearing a big fucking fedora and like ripping some cotton with his mad vape tricks.
Eating knocked out cheese Doritos, drinking Mountain Dew in his mom's basement.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yep. Agreed. With a good old neck beard.
Come at me on Twitter.
You want to give them the to come at you on Twitter?
No.
Good. But come at our podcast at Subverted Tropes.
I mean, yeah, do it.
It's fine. We're going to ignore you.
We're going to report you.
Your hot takes are bullshit.
Yeah, I mean,
it's seriously. A good way to make fans, is tell them that their opinions are wrong.
They are. No,
Fair.
Okay, actually, no. If you're legitimately a fan of us, then you agree with all of this. If you are foaming at the mouth now, you can just turn this off and go back into your mom's basement.
I don't think we want
off.
your listenership.
Exactly.
You can find us on iTunes and Stitcher and Podbean.
And you can follow us on Twitter at Subverted Tropes. You can send hate mail to subvertedtropecast@gmail.com.
And you can read our blogs about how lame you are at subvertedtropecast.wordpress.com.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell all your friends.
We'll let you know what our next movie is when we post that movie. This has been a lot of fun, and we look forward to talking to you guys later.
And we do sincerely value you listening, I promise.
I promise you. All right. Love you guys. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.